Hello you guys, and finally welcome back to another episode of Mental Health with Megan. First things first, a little life update. I just want to say that I really love this dress. I'm obsessed. Super cute. I love this color on me. This has been like my favorite color lately, like my new favorite color. Like, yes, my favorite color is pink, but like now my favorite color is this like lilac purple, and this is this super cute like athleisure dress from Francesca's. So in case you want to get one for yourself, there you go. So, of course, starting with the life update, first of all, I would like to say that if I am talking weird, it is because I got my wisdom teeth out on Monday. Today is Saturday, so it's 5 days post-op, and obviously I'm pretty much fine. I'm feeling a lot better. There's a little bit of discoloration. I only got the top and bottom right ones taken out, and I have to go back for the left ones, so not looking forward to that. Vlog on that coming soon. Maybe it'll be up already before this, I don't know. But I do want to say, it really wasn't as bad as I was expecting. I was like preparing myself for the worst. Like I was prepared to like lay in bed for a week and feel like absolute shit. Honestly, the worst three things about it is number one, not being able to use a straw because I always have my fake Stanley cup with a straw, and not being able to use a straw was really annoying. Hello, Luna. Hello. My little guest star is back. Two, not being able to eat, like, actual food. Like, I had to eat pudding, jello, soup broth, like, oh my god, for the first, like, 3 days. And then I finally, on day 3, like, was able to, like, have some noodles, like, cut them up. If you had all 4, you definitely wouldn't be able to, like, eat that quickly, but I'm able to, like, chew on this side. The swelling has gone down a lot. I actually, like, because there's a mirror behind my camera, so if you see me looking that way, you know why. I'm not sure if it's like completely gone down. I think it kind of has, because I have a very round face, as is. I never looked too swollen. I think there's still a little bit of swelling, but nothing crazy. So yeah, I had that done last week. So that's like a big thing that's been going on in my life. What else has happened? I went on vacation. I went to Maryland, Maine, Boston, and New Hampshire, all within under 7 days, so cuckoo. I'm cuckoo for that, but it was very fun. I had a lot of fun. I got to see friends, I got to see family. Now, while I was gone, my other cat, George, Luna's brother, escaped. He ran out the door one night when my mom opened the door to feed them. She opened the door, and my mom opened the door one night while I was gone, and cat ran out, and he actually ended up in the sewer drain outside of my house, which was very scary, and I did not know about this until the day that I was coming home. I believe that he got out on Friday night, and they didn't find him in the drain until Sunday morning, and then we did not get him out of the drain until Thursday night when I came home. So that was a very, very scary experience for me and my mom and my whole family, really, because my family was here trying to get the cat out, and even my neighbors were helping, and they were really worried and they were really scared, and we had a really bad rainstorm and the drain was filling up, and like I for sure thought that my cat was gonna drown, and I was just sitting on the train ride home. That was all I could think about. I was freaking out. I was calling all these different rescue people and rescue companies, and nobody could get there, and like it was such a nightmare, and it definitely did make me love and appreciate George and Luna a lot more, because that was just such a scary experience for me and everybody that loves me and my cats, and who would have thought? Like, I seriously do not know how he got down there. I don't know how he managed to get down there. And the fire department and the cops were of no help, really. They came, I wasn't here, but I was told the story. They came and they lifted the grate off, and they actually dropped the grate into the drain, which is scary because if my cat was there at that time, was under that grate, was standing anywhere there, I mean, granted, he probably, hopefully, maybe would have ran away if he saw something falling, but if that grate landed on my cat, it would have killed him. That grate is 400 pounds. It could have literally, like, decapitated him or just crushed him. And they came and couldn't get the cat out, so they shut the grate not once but twice, and, you know, I can't imagine being told, like, or watching, you know, the fire department and the police come and watching them, you know, shut that with your fur baby in there, you know? Like, I felt so bad for my mom and my family that was here for the whole week trying to get the cat out. My aunt got a bruise sticking her arm in the grate. My uncle almost got hurt. Like, the fire department wouldn't let my mom or anybody climb down in the drain because they like, we can't let you, you could get hurt. But yeah, so that was just a very harrowing experience. Every time I go on summer vacation, something bad happens, which is a little scary. Like last summer when I left for vacation, a lot of shit happened and it was not fun. Anyways, so vacation was very fun until I found out about that. And I was worrying the whole way home, but obviously we did get my cat out. He is fine. He was probably a little bit like dazed and confused and definitely dehydrated, but with a few days back in the house, he's okay. He's already been trying to escape back to the outside, back to the great outdoors, back to the sewer drain. We were joking that he might have been born to be a sewer rat because it seemed like he had a great time down there. I was on T's vacation, got my cat stuck in the sewer drain, got him out. Then some neighbor reported me for having a cat that I'm quote-unquote not supposed to have, which we figured that whole situation out. I can keep my cats as I knew that I would be, like, as I knew that I should be able to. Like, my neighbors are, like, absolutely cuckoo, so that was fun, too. I'm like, really? I just had, like, my cat almost just died, and now you have nothing better to do but report me for having a cat that I should not have, which is not true, so thank you. My neighbors have been causing me a lot of stress. And then I said I would touch base with you guys again after graduation. I had my graduation ceremony actually like a month ago this week, and it doesn't really feel too weird. Like, it doesn't really feel abnormal because, like, whether I graduated or not, it would still be summer break right now. So I feel like it's gonna hit me in the fall. I feel like it's gonna hit me hard in the fall when it's like back to school time and I'm not going back to school. So yeah, we'll see about that, but I feel like that's when it's gonna hit me, you know. But I did not cry at graduation. I teared up a little because the student speaker speeches were just very sad and emotional, so I did tear up a little, but I didn't cry, like sob like I thought I would. But one of the student speakers was talking about how he lost both of his parents, and I just kind of, you know, started thinking about my dad, and then, like, I looked over at my friend, and she, like, grabbed my hand, and, like, we just kind of looked at each other, and it was just such, like, a moment. It was, like, one of those moments, you know. It was, like, very, like, wow, like, yeah, my dad's dead, and he's never coming back, you know, like, doing anything that's big and significant in your life after losing someone you love and doing it through grief is very hard and very sad and very emotional. And, you know, it was one of those big moments where it's like, God, like, you know, like, damn, like, he should be here for this, but he's not, you know. I definitely think that he kind of has the best seat in the house, I guess you could say, but still, you know, it's not the same. And actually for my high school graduation, I got a portrait drawn up of me, my mom, my dad with me in my graduation regalia, and I will forever treasure that to this day. I still treasure that, and I will always treasure that, and I think that that was a really good thing that I was able to do for myself, you know, to honor him. And obviously recently I got this tattoo in honor of him, and yesterday I actually found in my grandparents' house some of his firefighter jackets, and, you know, I will think of him every day, but graduating without him was definitely hard. Back to the wisdom teeth real quick. I wanted to say if I sound weird or if I sound like I have a little bit of a lisp, it's kind of because the swelling is kind of making me talk a little weird, so sorry about that. I was like debating, I was like, do you think, like, can I film a podcast today like this? Like, I don't know, but, you know, obviously, here I am. And my cat's about to start growling at my neighbors. She thinks she's a dog. Who's that, Luna? Who's that, Luna? One more thing with the update, I saw Leo Skeppy in Leo We Trust tour like 2 weeks ago with my friends, and I met him, and, you know, I told him a little bit about me and my podcast and doing YouTube, and he told me, along with one of my other friends, he told me basically to not stop doing what I'm doing because you never know what people need to hear you know, what you're saying that somebody might really need to hear. So I really appreciated that. He is such a sweet and funny and smart guy. I thought it was a really good show. He basically just talked about gaining confidence and making your way through life, and I really liked it. I really resonated with a lot of it. Um, so yeah, and I will never stop doing what I'm doing. And it's true because like other social media platforms, you know, I might be able to see like who viewed my story and who liked my TikTok or commented on it or who viewed my TikTok, but YouTube is different. I don't get to see who's viewing my videos, so I don't know who you are, you know, but hi, I'm glad you're here. And if you're struggling with something too, and that's why you're watching one of these videos, I'm sorry that you're struggling, but I'm here for you and I'm trying to share my story in hopes that it will help someone else going through something similar. um, so yeah, I think that that's pretty much like my little life update for you guys. Other than that, I've been working, well, not really working. I basically had like almost a month off. Like I worked like 3 days, then I went on vacation for a week, came back, worked another 3 days, then I had my surgery, and then went back to work full time yesterday, and I'll be working most likely full time for the rest of the summer, so that should be fun. Well, my full time is not actually full time, it's part time, so, you know, but I am looking for another job because I do have Wednesdays of, like, I'm off on Wednesdays, and I would rather be working, but it's hard to find a job that will like hire you 1 day a week. And then of course I have my businesses, which are slow. It's a little bit slow recently, but I actually just had a party this morning for my event planning business. It went very well. It was a kid's birthday party, my first kid's birthday party, so it was cool to see that come together. And my first 2 parties were planned fully over text and over the phone. So to see something like that come to life when it's not even like there's no like in-person meeting is very cool and very special. So now for the reason why you are all here, the lovely topic of the day. I'm really sad that I like missed like mental health month. Like I wanted to do a whole podcast on like mental health and mental health month and mental health awareness because obviously that's what my podcast is called. And even though I might not always talk about mental health directly, everything I talk about ties to mental health because really when you think about it, everything in life, every aspect of life ties into your mental health. So anyways, today's topic, as you can tell, is going to be like dealing with depression and anxiety because lucky for me, lately I've been dealing with both and I've been having a pretty hard time, which really kind of sucks. So I wanted to kind of like take it back to like middle school when I think I was going through my first depressive episode and I just didn't really fully know it because I didn't know really what depression was. I didn't know about depression and I certainly didn't think or know that I had depression. So I was having a really, really tough time in middle school. I did an episode talking about how I was being bullied, which you should go watch if you haven't already. I'll have it linked in the description up top down below. So go check that out. But I was being severely bullied and harassed by people at school. I had very few friends. I had a very hard time making new friends. I was still very shy, and I was very targeted by people in school, probably because I was like the quiet kid, and like I was like an easy target and an easy person to pick on, and God, so many people, it seemed like they had it out for me. But, you know, when you get older and you realize, you kind of learn, like, the only reason that people bully kids or anybody, because adults can be bullies too, the only reason they're doing that is because they're not happy with themselves or happy with their own life. So yeah, I was having a very hard time in middle school. I was having a hard time with school and being bullied. I was having a little bit of a hard time with my relationship with my mom because, you know, when you're in middle school, you want to start doing things and your mom might say no and, you know, then you get into a fight and you're going through puberty and you get your period and you're emotional and, like, oh my God. It's, like, such a weird time in your life, you know, like, middle school is just, like, very weird. So I had a hard time with, like, you know, getting my period and like dealing with like learning how to like live your life being a girl that just got her period, which was like the worst thing ever. Like when you're a teenager and you get your period and then you're like, fuck, I have to deal with this for the next like 30 years. You're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, so, I was just having trouble with a lot of different aspects of my life at the time, and I was really fucking sad. And I was depressed, but at the time I didn't know it. I was dealing with depression and anxiety, but again, like I said, at the time, did not know it. My anxiety was so bad that I would literally cry to my mom in the morning before school most days and like beg her to not make me go. That's how much I hated school, which is crazy to me. So that was very sad. For my mom to see that, deal with that, and not knowing what to do about it, and for me to have to deal with it, obviously. And I remember thinking for the first time in middle school at some point or another that I would be better off just killing myself. I remember thinking for the first time that I wanted to kill myself and that I was kind of just better off killing myself because I was so sad and so miserable. And I also figured like, okay, well at least, you know, if I kill myself, I'll get to, you know, be reunited with my dad who's in heaven. So obviously, you know, I didn't kill myself. That's why I'm here to tell the story, and I am very glad now that I didn't kill myself. I didn't tell anyone that I was feeling this way because I didn't really have anybody to tell. I didn't really have anybody that I trusted enough to tell, and I didn't really have anybody that I wanted to tell. Because, you know, what 6th grade, 7th grade kid wants to tell their mom, I want to kill myself? No one. No one wants to tell their mom or dad or anybody that they trust or love or that is close to them that. Nobody wants to tell anyone that. I didn't really tell anyone. But I had been texting a friend on Instagram, and my mom, oh my god. My mom well, not now, but she used to. My mom, when I was in middle school, religiously checked my phone because I was getting bullied and threatened on social media so much that my mom had to like check my phone like multiple times a week because I wouldn't tell her and she had to find out somehow. And my mom found out and she did not know what to do, so she took me down to my aunt's house to have like so they could both like talk to me about it. And at the time I was not happy that she found out those texts. I guess I had ended up telling someone on those texts that I felt like I wanted to kill myself, and my mom read it and didn't know what to do and was freaking out, and I was freaking out, and I was upset and she was upset, and it was this whole big thing. But I have to wonder, you know, like if my mom didn't find out about those texts and didn't know that I wanted to kill myself, would I have done it? You know, like I probably would have, you know, because when my mom found those texts, even though I wasn't happy, it made me realize, like, okay, like, my mom loves me so much, and my aunt loves me so much, and other people in my family love me so much that if I killed myself, it would hurt people, and it would make a bad impact, you know, like, I can't do that to my family and my friends, and, you know, like, I didn't see it at the time, but my aunt and my mom were trying to tell me and make me realize that life is worth living and you have to just push through these hard times. I'm not sure what year of middle school. It might have been like, I think it was 7th grade, like the end of 7th grade. I started going to brain core or brain mapping therapy, and that was how I found out that I had depression and anxiety. Because they put all these like wires on your head and do some kind of like brain scan, and it shows a little bit how your brain works. And my brain showed that of a brain of a, you know, kid with depression and anxiety, and that was how I found out that I had depression and anxiety. And then everything started to kind of the puzzle pieces kind of started to fall into place a little bit, and I was kind of like, oh, like, that makes sense why I felt like this, or why I felt like that, or why this happened or that happened, or, you know, whatever, why I had a panic attack, or why whatever happened. It started to make sense, and I was like, oh, okay, you know. And I remember being disappointed when I got that, you know, initial, like, diagnosis, because I was like, you know, like, what does this mean? Like, I have this mental, you know, illness that I'm gonna have, like, forever. Like, you know, like, how does a person live with something like this? How does a person live with a chemical imbalance in their brain, because that's what it is, that causes them to have all these, you know, depressive episodes and negative self-talk and sadness and wanting to sleep a lot and laziness and extreme fatigue and this, that, and the other thing. Like, how does a person live like that, you know? So I think when I got the initial diagnosis, I was scared, but I was also just sad that, like, oh, like, I have a mental illness, and it's nothing to be ashamed of, but I didn't know that at the time, you know. And now there's so many advocates and so much awareness for mental health, but, you know, I guess, like, 5-6 years ago when I was diagnosed, it wasn't at the capacity that it is now. There was not, like, I don't ever remember hearing about Mental Health Month or Men's Mental Health Month or anything like that, you know, back then. But now we hear about it all the time, which is good. That's why I'm here, Mental Health with Megan. That's why I'm here, sitting here, chatting, talking to you guys about this topic right now. Because it is seriously so important. Like, the two main topics that I talk about and that come up a lot in my podcast is mental health and grief. Like, I'm a mental health advocate and a grief advocate all the way. Oh my god, my cat is so cute. She distracts me so much when I'm filming, because, like, I just want to love on her all day, dude. So that was, like, my first experience and, like, run-in that I had with my mental illness. Before that, I still had some symptoms with anxiety, but I don't really, like, remember focusing on it too much, or, like, really thinking about, like, that it could be a mental illness or anything, because I wasn't educated on the topic. I was a young, you know, child. I didn't know. So I do think at some point it's important to educate your kids on mental illness. I know it's like a sore subject kind of, but if I knew what it was, maybe I could have gotten help sooner, or gotten help before I got to the point of, you know, wanting to just commit suicide. There are so many suicides every year, and I think that that is genuinely one of the saddest and worst ways to die, because, you know, it's so hard to imagine someone you love doing that to themselves, because they might think that no one loves them, but you love them, you know? And so, like, suicide is a scary thing. And I also remember in middle school I had multiple friends that were cutting themselves, and I could not understand for the life of me why someone would do that to themselves, and, you know, what it meant and why they were doing it. And, you know, then I got to a point where I was like, oh shit, like, okay, I get it now, I understand. But suicide is really scary, and I always remember we would have, like, you know, an assembly about, like, suicide prevention, suicide awareness, and whatever, but they never talked about it enough, because it happens way too often. And I had a friend who committed suicide a few years ago, and it was one of the worst, like, worst times I've ever received bad news. I just remember when I found out what had happened, you know, when I found out that she died, obviously it was sad. When I found out how she died, it was like the world stopped. Like, I literally just had to stop what I was doing and lay down in my bed, because, like, my mind could not process that, you know? And I can't imagine, you know, being the parents of someone who commits suicide, or the best friend, or, you know, whatever. Just, it's such a sad situation, you know? So for anyone who has ever thought about committing suicide, definitely don't do it. I know you probably hear that a lot, and if you're suicidal, you're not going to care. You're going to be like, yeah, don't do it. Okay, well, why? You know, and then they're going to say, well, life is worth living, and we love you, and we need you, and this is and that. But if you're mentally ill and you're really suicidal, I don't think it matters what anyone says. I think you're going to get to a point where it's not going to matter what anyone says, and if you want to do it, you're going to do it, you know? Thankfully, that was like the only time in my life in middle school where I think I ever remember like actually really wanting to kill myself. Every other depressive episode, not that they haven't been bad, but they haven't been that bad, or they haven't gotten me to that point, or now I'm able to handle it in a better way where I can stop it from getting me to that point, or I can stop myself from getting to that point, because I know now that life really is worth living, and that's not what I want for myself. I do not want to die, you know. Like, it's so funny because like I'll maybe say to my friend, like when I'm really upset, like, oh my god, I just am so done, like, oh, I want to kill myself. But then like something will happen, like get into like a fender bender, or something scary will happen, and I'll be like, holy shit, like I really don't want to die, you know. So like or I'll hear of like a young person getting into like a drunk driving accident, or you'll hear of something tragic, and then I'll be like, wow, you know, like I'm so lucky to be alive, I really don't want to die, you know. So I know now that that's not what I want. You know, I don't really know, well, I mean, obviously there are some people that do want to die and they do commit suicide, but I don't really think anyone really wants to die. I think that the world and their mental health and mental state and mental illness, you know, pushes them to that point. And that brings me to another thing. Be nice to people. Be kind to people, because you never know what someone is going through, and you don't want to be their last straw. You don't want to be their reason why, like, you don't want to be the last person that they talk to and the reason why they go off and do that. So, you know, be nice to everyone, because you truly never know. Even when you think you know, you might not really know what somebody is going through and what extent they're going through it, you know? So, just be nice. It's not that hard. Be kind to everyone. You know, I got into a fender bender a few months ago on my way home from work, and it wasn't bad at all, but I was having a really, really hard and a shitty day, and the girl like got out of her car and was like yelling at me like, oh my god, you stupid bitch, like you shouldn't even have a license, like you're so stupid, like how could you be so stupid, this, that, and the other thing. And like, I understand, you know, being upset if someone hits your car, like I understand that. I understand you get into a car accident and you're like, oh fuck, you know, like I get that. I understand being upset, I truly do. I get that. But like, I was just like, oh my god, like it was such a minor thing too that we didn't even exchange insurance. Like, she didn't even want my insurance. That's how minor it was. It was literally like a tiny scratch on the back of her car, and she was screaming at me for it, and I cried after that, and I was really, really upset, because I was just like, wow, you know, like I'm having like one of the shittiest days that I've had in a long time, and then this happens, and this stupid bitch that doesn't even know me and doesn't even know, you know, anything about me, my name, my life, anything, and she's telling me that I'm stupid, and how could I be so stupid, and this, that, and the other thing. I'm just like, wow, you know, like, people need to learn how to treat other people with respect and kindness in any situation, really, because you never know what anyone is going through. The reason why I wanted to do this episode today is because I've been struggling with my mental health again recently. Last summer, I was going through like a major depressive episode pretty much all summer long. I was only working like weekends, like I would work like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or sometimes only 2 days a week, or sometimes even only one. And that was really not good for me. That was really not helpful for me, because I was home a lot, you know, and my friends were at work, or they were busy with other things, or they were on vacation, or they didn't want to do anything, or whatever. So I was just home alone a lot, and I would just kind of lay in bed a lot, and I was severely depressed. Like, I was not happy. I was not having a good time. I was not having a good summer last summer. Um, a lot of shit had happened last summer, and I had a friend pass away early in the summer. I think it was like June 5th or something like that. And just a lot of other shit happened, and then I was dealing with a breakup and this and that and the other thing, and I was like already depressed, and then something else would happen and I would get more depressed, and then something else happened and I would get more depressed, and like it was literally the worst summer of my life, and I wish that that summer never happened, but it did, and here I am to tell the story, you know, and try to learn and grow from it. And I just like, I think that I'm scared. Like, I think I'm like scared, like, oh shit, this summer is gonna be the same way. But I really don't think it's going to be. At least, I really hope not. Because that would suck. That would be really bad. That would be really shitty. But yeah, like, I don't know if you guys remember, if you watched my channel, I did a video last summer. I basically did a video about like how to make my day better, or how to like pull myself out of bed when I'm having a bad day, or how to like deal with a depressive episode. It wasn't like that directly, but it did have something to do with that. I think, I'm trying to see. I think it was my 9 to 5 before my 5 to 9 day in the life. I don't know, but I did a video where I went to the beach and painted last summer, and you know, the reason why I did that was because I was severely depressed, and I had to figure out a way to make myself feel better. I had to figure out something to do to make myself feel better. I was trying so hard to feel better and enjoy my summer. I was going for swims every day at the beach before work. I went to the ocean alone a couple of times. Like, I was trying so hard to just enjoy my summer and feel happy and feel better, and no matter what I did, I just couldn't. And that is one of the worst parts of depression and mental illness, is that I there are some times where I hate and I cannot stand, and I get so angry about the fact that I am literally at war with myself, with my own mind, to try to be happy and fight for my happiness. Like, I cannot stand that, and the reason why I'm talking about last summer is because I've been going through some shit lately, and I've been feeling the same way. I was starting to feel like that again recently, because like I feel like sad and lonely, and I kind of have a little bit of a tendency, I've noticed in the past, to like really rely on friends or a boyfriend when I am like very depressed. Like, when I'm like really, really depressed, the only thing that will help make me happy is my boyfriend or my best friend. And while it's good to have, you know, people in your life there for you when you're going through shit and when you're dealing with shit and you need, you know, a shoulder to lean on, it's good, but it's not good when it becomes like a codependent thing where you like solely rely on that person for your happiness, because I've definitely done that before. And then, you know, God forbid, when it comes time that you lose that person, and then you get depressed because you lost that person, and then the only person that was making you happy, you don't have them, and then you have to try to figure out again how to make yourself happy. So it's like really important to be able to like spend time with yourself and make yourself happy and bring yourself happiness, because even if you do have a boyfriend or best friend or multiple friends, a group of friends, or your mom or whoever that brings you happiness, number one, you might not always have them, and number two, you know, they're not always going to be there. They're not always going to be able to be there for you. You have to be able to to be there for yourself. And, you know, one thing about life is there is only one person that's going to be there from start to finish in your life, and that person is you. You know, like, there's going to be times where you have to learn to be your own person and, you know, bring yourself happiness and take yourself out. And let me tell you, it's not easy. Like, I've taken myself on dates to eat lunch. I've taken myself to the ocean. I've went to places by myself. A couple weeks ago, I was having a hard week and I was feeling really down, and I went to the beach to watch sunset, and everyone was there. And guess what? Everyone there had somebody. Everyone was there with their dog and their husband and their kids and their friends and their family, and then there was me, just sitting there alone. And that kind of made it worse for me and made me realize, like, wow, like, look at all these people with their people, and then right now in this moment I don't have my people, or I don't have my person, or I don't have a person, like, and that just like really like hit me hard. Like, I do have people, but still sometimes I feel very lonely. Yes, I have people, but like my depression causes me to feel severely lonely sometimes. Like, I feel like chronic loneliness. Like, even though I have people that I could spend time with, I'll kind of draw myself away and not tell them what I'm going through. And also, like, I don't want to feel like a burden. I don't want to like put my shit onto them. So I'll kind of like, or I kind of push people away. And I usually have a tendency not to do that. I usually don't do that. I usually will tell people, like, I'll tell my friends, like, okay, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling really shitty, like, I don't like to push them away because they're a source of happiness for me, but I guess there's definitely been times where I have done that because it's just like kind of, sometimes it's just what depression causes you to do. So I definitely have done it before in the past, but I usually don't, and I try not to. But yeah, I have been dealing with kind of some depression and anxiety lately really bad, like, especially having surgery and like not being able to really do much for a few days. Thank God it was only a few days, because I'm the worst when it comes to that shit. When it comes to like getting a procedure, or if you're sick and all you can do is like lay in bed and like not get any work done or not like do anything, I get so sad and so depressed. So I've kind of been dealing with that. I guess surgery kind of made it worse. I was dealing with it already, but then having surgery and kind of just all I've been doing. The hottest week of the summer, and I have not been in the water once, and everyone's at the beach and having fun with their friends and their loved ones, and then there's me just in bed alone, me and Luna, me and my girl. It's just so hard sometimes, like literally having to like war with your own mind to like find happiness and peace, and another thing is that I feel like I've tried so many things to try to make it better, and it doesn't really always get better, and it's something that's never really gonna go away fully, and it's something that you kind of just have to learn to live with for the rest of your life. But I feel like I try so many things. Like, I'm always trying to have a good day and be happy and make myself feel better, but it doesn't always work. Like sometimes, like I went to the beach to watch sunset, and then I ended up feeling worse because I'm seeing all these people with their people and I'm alone, and I'm like, fuck, I spend too much time alone. I spend so much time alone. Like, I have all these friends, but then it makes me question whether they're really my friends or not, because why am I always the one reaching out to make plans? Why am I always the one picking you up? Why am I always the one, asking to hang out? Like, I get so down and out about like my friends not trying to make plans or not asking me to hang out, because I'm like, like, do they even consider me a friend? Do they even like me? Do they want to hang out with me? Like, why is it so hard for people these days to make plans? Like, I try so many things. I've tried yoga, I've tried meditation, I've tried journaling, I've tried smoking weed, I've tried crafting, painting, every outlet you can imagine. Cold showers, which cold showers and journaling are like the two things that I'm finding like really, really helps. I try so hard all the time not to think about all the things. I'm trying to kind of shift my negative mindset into a more positive mindset. Like, I've tried so many things, and sometimes you keep trying and trying these new things and these different things to make yourself feel better, and then in the end you still end up feeling the same, and it's so discouraging and disappointing. And guess what? There's nothing you can do about it at the end of the day. And as for the anxiety, I will just have days CBD oil. That is the CBD oil helps with the anxiety, and cold showers and journaling helps with the depression. That for me. But like there's different things that will help people. I also do want to say that when I did brain core therapy the first time, that helped me tremendously. The second round, not so much, but the first time literally changed the whole trajectory of my life at that time. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm grateful that I was able to do that because it is not cheap. It is very expensive, but it was extremely helpful for me because it's basically like, it's kind of like rewiring your brain, kind of. But yes, like there are things that help, but like I have days with my anxiety where I literally cannot shut off my brain. Like I'm a personal carrier, so some days at work, if I'm having like a bad day or a hard day, I'm just sitting there for like, you know, my whole day at work, pretty much just driving around to different places and sitting in the car, maybe listening to music, but sitting in the car, like thinking about like all this crap that's going on in my life, and I cannot get my brain to shut off. Or there's times where like the same thing happens to me when I'm trying to go to sleep, and it is literally all day. From the time I wake up till the time I fall asleep, all day long, I will be having anxiety, thinking about this, that, and another thing, and it's like, oh my god, it's the worst thing ever, because it's like I can't escape my own brain. I cannot escape myself and my thoughts, and that's what's causing me to like panic and be anxious, and it sucks. It sucks so much. I feel like this podcast episode is a little bit all over the place, so I'm really sorry if it is. I'm like not sure why my brain is like not working today and just not like really like formulating words and sentences the way I want it to. Trying my best, but I'm also like a person that likes to stay really busy, because if I stay really busy and if I don't have enough time to have to sit there and think about my emotions and thoughts and feelings, then sometimes that just eliminates the problem of, you know, like feeling a certain way or whatever. So that's a problem, because sometimes it's a good thing and sometimes it's a bad thing. Because if you don't take the time to sit with your feelings and work through your feelings, eventually they are going to start to work their way back up. And you are still going to have to deal with them eventually. But now it's maybe, you know, 3 months after the fact, or 6 months after the fact, or a year, or 2 years, or 5 years after the fact, and it's harder to work through it. Because you've been letting it sit for so long without giving it any thought or attention, and, you know, it's hard to work through your feelings and thoughts and problems and, you know, traumas, but you have to do it, because if you don't, and you don't put in the work and you're just holding that in, like, it's not good for you. You can't do that. So in my adult life now, I am trying to figure out how to sit down with my feelings and work through them, and, you know, if you gotta cry it out, get over it and move on, because that's what life is all about, pretty much. You gotta just get over it and move on, whether you like it or not. So another thing for my girlies and boys, for the girls and the gays in their 20s, I learned something very interesting that said, like, when you are, like, 19, you've only been an adult for 1 year. And when you're 20, you've only been an adult for 2 years. And when you're 21, you've still only been an adult for 3 years, which is kind of true. So it's like, well, it is true. You know, like, you're not an adult your whole life. You're a kid and you're growing up and a teenager and whatever. So, like, stop being so hard on yourself, because you're basically only like a 3-year-old adult. You know, like, you should not have everything figured out. You do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need to have your whole life together. You're not supposed to be rich yet. You're not supposed to be whatever yet, because you're literally just starting out and you have to build your life from scratch. It's crazy. Like, life is literally like playing a game. Life is literally like a game, and it's kind of scary, because you know what? Sometimes I just don't like playing games. Sometimes I'm just not about playing games, and life is like one big game, and, you know, there's like a god or a spirit or a whatever that just comes and like moves your pawn back 5 steps after you know, worked really hard to get to that point, and something just like moves your character back, and, you know, 5 steps forward and 25 steps back. Like, life is crazy. Life is really just crazy. I don't even know what like the point of this podcast episode was at this point was supposed to be. Like I just wanted to talk about like depression and anxiety and how like last summer was really shitty and now I'm like dealing with it again and I just really don't want to have a bad summer. And I've been trying to take more social media breaks because I feel like that is not helping. That is probably contributing to both the depression and the anxiety because whether you think about it or not, you're kind of always comparing yourself to people on social media, and it's a really bad habit. And like, oh my god, like you should never compare yourself to anyone in real life or on social media, but it's so easy to just like, you know, you look on social media and this person's in Italy and this person's engaged and this person's having a baby and this person lost 20 pounds and this person that and this person this, and then you're sitting there and you're like, you know, like, and what have I done? And like, it's not fair how this person gets to be on an extravagant vacation right now and I gotta be here alone working my ass off just feeling lonely and sad and like feeling sorry for myself, you know? Like, social media, while it can be good, social media also kind of sucks. And I've been trying to take more social media breaks and have more unplugged days and unplugged times because it's not good for your brain. It's not good for your mind to be comparing your life to someone else's 24/7, you know? And like, today has been good so far because I really haven't been on my phone that much. The only thing that I've been on my phone to do is edit my Instagram reel for the day. But I haven't really looked at social media too much today. And it is like, what, 1 o'clock? Yeah, it's almost 1 o'clock and I've been awake since like 8 a.m. Let me check my screen time. This will be the real tell-all. But I really don't think I've been on my phone that much today. And after I finish filming this podcast, even though I want to sit on my phone and watch TikTok, I am going to try to do something else. Okay, I've been on my phone, this is bad, I've been on my phone today for 2 hours and 51 minutes. I guess I was on my phone at work more than I thought because it was kind of slow and I kind of wasn't doing much for a while, but an hour and 51 on social, not good. That's like my limit for the day almost. Creativity, 22 minutes, and travel, 15 minutes, because I used an Uber today. So, more than I thought, but I am really trying to stay off my phone more, and on vacation this summer, I didn't post my daily updates, or I didn't post things immediately. I kind of like posted while I was traveling and posted after the trip, and it was so nice. My camera overheated and turned off in the middle of recording and I completely forgot where I was at and what I was saying. I am so mad right now because I like completely lost track of like what I was talking about before my camera shut off, and now I like don't know where to go from there or like what else to talk about. I don't know, I guess basically if you're struggling with your mental health, specifically depression and anxiety, know that you're not alone. If you have any tips or things that you like to do that help you with depression, anxiety, or mental health, comment them down below. Maybe you'll help me out, maybe you'll help out someone else in the comments. I'm also going to try to include some resources in the description below as well. I also wanted to talk about how recently I thought that maybe I have bipolar. That was scary and not fun. There was like a week recently where I was kind of feeling a little manic, a little bit like really like up and down, having like insane like highs and lows, more insane than I've ever had before. And I was like, fuck, maybe I have bipolar and maybe I need to go see a psychiatrist because it does kind of run in my family a little bit, and it can start presenting itself, like the symptoms can start presenting itself in your early 20s, and here I am in my early 20s, feeling a little crazy, a little manic, and like I make jokes about it a lot, but it's really not funny. Like I'll be like, oh my god, like having a manic episode, like this is no longer mental health with Megan, it's actually manic episodes with Megan. No, but like in all seriousness, I was like, oh my god, like I think I have bipolar and I think I need to see a psychiatrist like right now. But eventually I calmed myself down. I was definitely on Google taking like a do I have bipolar disorder quiz. Don't recommend doing that. They said no, but that doesn't mean it's true. It's just some stupid online thing. But I calmed myself down, and I also sort of figured like ignorance is bliss, and I figured like out of the few symptoms I have that could be bipolar, I don't think it's currently something to worry about or currently something that needs to be worried about. But it is a little scary. It is a little scary when you have bipolar or any mental illness that you know runs in your family, and then like you get diagnosed with something and you're like, well, fuck. So that was interesting. I also wanted to, this next part is for my girls, your menstrual cycle, your period, and like your whole cycle severely messes with your mental state and your hormones and your emotions and your mental well-being. So I actually found something that I wanted to read to you guys. So see if I can find it. Women have 4 different brain states every month. And you probably noticed this, you just don't know it. The female brain has a monthly cycle with 4 different physiological and cognitive phases. Estrogen and progesterone are not just ovarian hormones, they are critical neurochemicals that significantly impact women's brain function, mood, and cognition. So if you're like wondering, like me today, why your brain's not working, this might be why. And if you're wondering, you know, why you're forgetting things and you're dropping things and whatever, this could be why. So there's the menstrual brain, which is low estrogen and progesterone, low metabolism, downregulated mood boosting neurotransmitters, high stress sensitivity, and more introspective and intuitive cognitive state, which I noticed there's a lot of like time, there'll be like a time during the month where I'm like extra sensitive to like stress and anxiety. Then there's the follicular brain, which is high estrogen and low progesterone, higher metabolism, upregulated serotonin, dopamine, epi, norepi, and glutamate, which you may realize, you know, there's a week in the month where you're like on top of the world and like really happy. Better focus, mental energy and mood, enhanced emotional intelligence. The ovulatory brain, so this is like when you're ovulating, peak estrogen, low progesterone, peak mental focus and energy, peak mood, peak emotional intelligence, enhanced communication skills, more socially oriented cognitive state. And then there's the luteal brain, which is high progesterone and low estrogen, increased neuroplasticity and neurogenesis, micrological cell activation, enhanced memory consolidation, enhanced communication skills, and sharper intellect and word recall. When we ignore the female brain cycle, we misunderstand half of humanity's mental health and cognitive potential. So basically, women at different cycles of at different like phases of the cycle, your brain functions differently, and your brain basically completely changes the way it functions. So that's another thing to think about too when you're like freaking out about your mental health. Like, really look at your phase, look at your cycle, look at where you're at. Like, are you in the ovulatory phase? Are you in the luteal phase? Like, you should really research this stuff, because I have, and it really helped me. Like, as someone who like, I track my period, I track my ovulation, I refuse to go on birth control because I know that shit is not good for your body. And for me, at least, it just doesn't make sense to go on birth control when there's other methods of, you know, not getting pregnant. Like, number one, not having sex. Like, if you're not ready to handle the possibility of getting pregnant, then maybe you should think about that before you start hooking up with guys. Like, that's just like a no-brainer. Condoms, plan B, I guess, if you really, really need it. Or just like me, like track your ovulation, stay on top of like knowing your cycle and knowing when you're really fertile and knowing when you have a very low chance of getting pregnant, things like that. But yeah, so that's another thing to think about, is if you're a girl, like, your cycle every month, like your brain and your mood and your mental state and mental health changes with that cycle. So that is something else to think about too. But yeah, I've been struggling a bit with my mental health this week and last week and the past couple weeks, and today I'm having a pretty good day so far, but I am like a little bit worried because I've been busy all day so far and I haven't had time to like sit and think. So I'm like, oh no, the second I stop doing something, it's all downhill from there. But that's not necessarily true. We don't have to, you know, think about it like that. It's not 100% necessarily true. So there's that. So on that note, I think that I have been yapping for probably about an hour now. And I think that I have said everything that I wanted to say to you guys. And comment down below, let me know what topics you want me to talk about, let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you guys. Bye.